Thank you. Thank you very much. And welcome to Huckabee from the Fox News studios in New York City. President Obama spent most of the first year of his first term pushing Obamacare instead of focusing on a struggling economy. Now in the first year of his second term, the economy's still in the tank. Obamacare is now scaring even its supporters because of its increasing cost and decreasing access. And the president? Well, he's focused on a new crusade, gun control. He's back on his perpetual campaign trail, selling snake oil while we ought to be killing snakes. He claims that 92% of the American people support his proposals, and he calls them common sense approaches. Frankly, there's nothing common nor sensible about adding more laws on those who don't break the ones we have in order to persuade the people who ignore the ones we have. They're not going to start obeying the ones that we create. Now, one thing we do all agree on, we never want to see another shooting like Sandy Hook or Aurora. But it would help if we at least would bring our brains to the discussion. This week in California, the president claimed that the Sandy Hook massacre was done by a fully automatic weapon, which it wasn't. Those have been banned since 1934. Colorado Congresswoman Diana DeGette was virtually laughed out of the room when she suggested that limiting the size on a magazine would eventually eliminate all the large capacity magazines because she somehow imagined that magazines disappeared or disintegrated after use. The NRA has been mocked by the media and elites, just like New York Mayor Mike Bloomberg, for suggesting that armed good guys are the best defense against armed bad guys. But the mayor ought to stick to banning salt, soda, smokes, and loud sounds, because the average number in victims of mass shootings stopped by the police is about 14. The average number of victims when the shooter is stopped by an armed citizen is 2.5. In the past 50 years in the United States, every mass killing with 4 or more victims, with the single exception of the Gabby Gifford shooting, every one was in a gun-free zone. Senator Lindsey Graham reported this week that 80,000 people failed a background check last year, but only 66 were prosecuted. Maybe it's not a lack of laws, but a lack of law enforcement we need to work on. Many proposals seek to ban a gun because of the way it looks rather than the way it works. The FBI, for example, reports that in a recent year, only 4% of gun crimes were committed with a rifle, 66 committed by a handgun. More people are killed with hammers and clubs than with rifles. Now, according to studies by criminologists, between 800,000 and 2.5 million crimes are actually prevented by armed citizens. A blogger called The Wolf points out that a gun puts a 100-pound woman on equal footing with a 220-pound mugger. A 75-year-old retiree is put on the same footing with a 19-year-old gangbanger. And a single guy is on equal footing with a truckload of guys swinging baseball bats. Now, of course, it's best to avoid dangerous situations. Good to flee from them. Great when a cop is right there to intervene. But if those aren't options, and the person attempting to rape, rob, or murder you, or maybe even a loved one, when that person can't be reasoned with or run from, then wearing a gun is better than wearing a toe tag. Mr. President, that's my version of common sense.